All right, so I just browned up some sausages. And now I'm going to make some meatballs. And then today for lunch is going to be raviolis with sausages and meatballs in tomato sauce. Usually when I make meatballs, I like to do a big batch, like 3 pounds, and then I'll put some in the sauce, and then the rest I vacuum seal in like 3 or 4 meatballs per package. And that way, if I want a meatball sandwich or make a little thing of sauce just for myself, then I got them already done. But today, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to make a small batch because I only took out this much meat. So this is only going to be 1 pound of beef and 1 pound of sweet Italian sausage. Normally I would use pork or veal. And then 2 eggs. Some homemade breadcrumbs, but these aren't seasoned yet, like I usually make Italian style breadcrumbs. So I'll just season them, and you can use like fresh garlic and shallot or an onion or whatever you like, but I'm just going to use powdered garlic, and that's how I usually do them anyway, with powdered spices instead of fresh. But quite a bit of powdered garlic, a little black pepper. Little salt, but not too much because the ground sausage is going to be salty. And then onion powder. A little bit of crushed red pepper. And I'm forgetting something here. Parmesan cheese, of course. And I usually put a lot. And today I'm going to fry these. Generally I don't. It's my favorite way to have meatballs, but it's also the hardest on acid reflux. So I generally bake them, which is my least favorite way to make meatballs, but it's the easiest on acid reflux. And then sometimes I'll make meatballs and then you roll them really tight and cook them straight in the sauce. And that's like the best way, but you got to roll them tight and you got to be real gingerly when you're stirring the sauce. Otherwise they fall apart and you end up with a meat sauce. And since I'm in a rush, I'm going to fry them instead of baking them. And or instead of cooking them directly in the sauce. I feel like I'm parsley. And some parsley. And that's it. Oh, a little bit of olive oil. It's funny. A lot of times when I make meatballs, when I do them in the oven and bake them, I put them on a cookie sheet, and then I put a rack on top of it. And then I use so much Parmesan cheese in them. I've had people here, going to eat my meatballs, and they're like, I'm not eating that. That's greasy. And I said, that ain't grease. It's Parmesan cheese melted and is dripping out of the meatballs. So, no, it's not greasy. It's the cheese. And you can use a ice cream scoop or something to make these so they're really uniform. I just eyeball them. I just sprayed that with duck fat, by the way, and I decided I am going to bake them instead of frying them because it's only not even 2 o'clock yet. So I got time. And I'll roll them a little smaller than usual so they'll cook quicker. About like a golf ball. And when you bake them, you don't have to roll them as tightly. Like if you were putting them straight in the sauce. Then you have to roll them, you know, pretty tightly. I got it on 375, by the way. You can cook them at 400. 350, I think, is too low. All right, these are ready. And there they are, and they're nice. And the oven just beeped. So in they go. The last thing I cooked was pizza. And when I just opened the door, it smells like pizza. Now I'm going to chop up some garlic. All right, so I chopped up some garlic and I went upstairs and I actually got a basil plant growing in my plant room, and it's surviving, which is cool. That way I can have fresh basil. Oh man, that's just unbelievable. So anyway, let me start the sauce. Olive oil. Garlic. Some people put onions. I don't. But I think I got some pretty ratty scallions in there. If I do, I'm going to chop them up and use them in here. All right, so I salvaged those scallions instead of wasting them. A little salt, not too much. I don't use oregano in my tomato sauce unless I'm making pizza sauce. And let me chop up this basil. Of course, crushed red pepper. This is Cento crushed tomatoes. In they go. I always put a little bit of water in the can so I don't waste any of the tomatoes. And sometimes I'll use paste depending on what I'm going for. This time I didn't. This will be a relatively bright sauce because I'm not going to cook it long. I don't like cooked sauces when people cook them all day. To me, it tastes burnt. Those meatballs are just about done. So I'm going to throw the sausages in here. All right, there's the meatballs. See how they look greasy? Like I was talking about earlier, but that ain't grease. That's cheese. And those will go in the sauce. All right, so the raviolis are done. Let me give that a try. And then we're going to go and eat. And there we go. Let me get a towel. All right, first the ravioli. Sauce is good. And a chunk of meatball. A little Vino. It's going to be a good lunch.